What's up, everyone? I'm Thorn coming to you from Computex 2024 in Taipei, Taiwan. Let's go, nerds! What's up, guys? Thorn here at Computex 2024, and I'm in the Tryx booth. Now, if you haven't heard that name, don't worry, you're not going crazy. It is a startup, a new brand here. And if Tryx sounds like an odd name, I'll tell you what it means. It stands for Tryx, as in try everything. And what Tryx is doing is they're positioning themselves as a premium brand, targeting things like PC cases, AIO coolers, other accessories like that, and even more that we don't even know yet. It's really exciting stuff. So when you first look at the Luca, which is their current case here, that is actually not a prototype here, this is a final product, this might look familiar to you, but really what you're looking at is a format that is familiar, sort of the panoramic case, the fish tank case, whatever you want to call it. However, when the market is getting saturated with the similar looking cases, you have to diverge in specific ways, in the details. And they have many details here that are very, very cool. So this is a modular style case, and they're doing small little touches. Like on a lot of these cases, the front glass can be kind of annoying to take off. If you can take it off at all, on some cheaper cases, it's fixed on there. There you go. There you go, just open it up. And we're seeing things like a nice integrated GPU support bracket, toolless design for your PCIe slots there. We're looking at large aluminum pieces here on the right side. You have a stainless steel handle on the top with a hidden handle in the back to move this heavy beast that it's going to be when it's done. You have these really interesting feet lifting it up 40 millimeters off of the surface to get really nice airflow in here. You can fit a 420 millimeter AIO or radiator on the side here for side intake. You have full bottom intake as well, top exhaust. But what about that power supply shroud, the power supply carrier right there? So that is interesting. The motherboard tray and the power supply bracket there, or the power supply housing, can swap places. So if you want your power supply on the bottom, you can do that. You want it on the top, you can do that as well. It does look like there is plenty of space in the back here. Now, looking through the motherboard tray there, you can see there is plenty of space for cable management. This is not, though, a dual chamber case. This is a single chamber case. So your power supply will be in the main body here, but as you can see, a lot of premium power supplies will have things like screens on them and different designs on them, things like that, nice aesthetics. But the joke is like, well, why? Because it just gets hidden away. Well, here you actually do have the cutouts here to show off things like that. And we're looking at a lot of aluminum here, a lot of aluminum on this case, which, as you know, is going to be a more premium material than your thin sheet metal. And my one comment to them on this, but this is a product of it being an aluminum panel, is that their side intake here, the mesh here, could do with a little bit higher porosity. I asked them, they said it was about 40 to 41% porosity. And that means how large and how close the holes are in the metal, meaning how much air it'll let through. Now, another really cool aspect of this is that if you don't want the glass on here and you want a more typical front intake, top and rear exhaust kind of setup, including bottom intake, guess what? They also have this mesh panel, which is in a style I have not seen before, with sort of the fans embossed in it. And what size are those fans? I'm glad you asked, dear viewer. They are 200 millimeter intake fans there. And of course, in this version here, you're seeing 200 millimeter RGB fans. So what's the benefit of 200 millimeter fans, and thick ones at that? These look like they must be at least 30 millimeters thick. You can move a high volume of air at a much lower RPM than 140 or 120 millimeter fans, and that lower RPM, that means lower noise. So a nice quiet system with great airflow, always a great way to go. And of course, you're seeing it here in white and in black. If you look at this one here, you'll see it with the power supply enclosure on the top with the motherboard on the bottom. And if you look over here on this one, you see power supply on the bottom with a nice Seasonic Vertex power supply in there and the motherboard on top. And you can still get some airflow from a couple of fans right here. And then of course, this system here in black, or this case here in black right there. And of course, this is our power supply enclosure right here, which is, modular. You can move it around. And this is our removable motherboard tray, which, let me tell you, for building can be super cool. You can pretty much build almost your entire PC and just slot it into the case. So really cool stuff. Now, this, by the way, is also their stainless steel handle right here. Of course, it is powder coated as well. This handle screws in with 4 screws, should be capable of lifting half the weight of the system, and on the back of the case is a hidden handle as well, just to help you move your system around. Really, there's a lot of care being taken in the design and manufacturing of this, it seems. It's kind of what I'm seeing here, and I like to see that. That's not a prototype we just looked at. That is a final product. However, we do have some prototype cases to look at, and they're very, very interesting. By the way, right here, they also do have universal vertical GPU support brackets here. So I've used a product like this, and they can be really nice because of the adjustability that you get with it. Now that we've looked at the final product case with the one we just looked at, this is a prototype case called the Spec. Now what you're seeing here is a smaller form factor case with tons of mesh all around it, but what's probably getting your attention the most is going to be the screens here. So this is a full-on screen that can display color. It doesn't need any supplementary light coming from behind. But here on the white version here, on this prototype, you see that they have it using the internal lighting of the system to showcase what's going on the screen. Now the screen they have in here, as they told me, can connect with either HDMI or USB Type-C utilizing their software, which we will talk about a bit later. But I gave them a couple notes on this, and I'll tell you what that, come close. Let me tell you what I told them, okay? So looking at these feet, take a look at these feet right here. This is for, you can stand it up vertically or have it on its side. Now these feet right here are fine, you get plenty of clearance there. I mentioned to them, I thought some much taller feet would be great there, and here's why, check this out. There we go. So if you remove this panel right here, by the way, empowering possibilities, as you see there, that is their slogan there. So this is where your GPU's outputs would be. And I don't know if you've ever seen a DisplayPort cable. They got some chonky connectors on them. I was telling them they're gonna need some more space right there, pretty much. But also, with these sort of rubber lining feet here, just sitting it down, you're gonna be cutting off your exhaust or intake, depending on how that is. It's gonna be exhaust from your GPU right here. So I mentioned they might wanna have taller feet, or a stand, a vertical stand, basically a base for it that will lift it up and provide it with that airflow. I think that'd be pretty cool. Heck, you know what? Put RGB in the base. Do whatever you want, but get that airflow or exhaust in there. There are just such cool materials and toolless options here. I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. If you like stuff like that, it's gonna be really satisfying to build in one of these and own one of these, I imagine. Now, this is fun. This right here is just fun, okay? So what they're using here, these are like mini bungee cords. And this is basically a frame where you can have stuff like this. You've got this one right here. This is a sort of a plastic grill here with some bungee cord there. And thinking about it, this would be a really easy way to customize or even change the look of your PC and still allow a lot of airflow in there. And yes, I did ask them, there is a mesh dust filter behind this, because this is not gonna function very much as a dust filter itself, but it's definitely a cool look. Just, maybe don't push in too much if you got fans right behind it. But yeah, really a cool look on this case here. And I also want to point out the really cool front I/O on this, which is just really slim on the top side right here. And it looks like it can be relocated to the bottom if you want to. So this is going to be a smaller case than the previous one. This is the Otavia. There's some really nice design language here, really nice curvature here. And then there's a fabric mesh right here that should allow for fans to be here, though I do notice the fan mounted there is not a reverse flow fan, so it would be exhausting into the PSU shroud. So again, prototypes. So let's talk about what's not a prototype here, what is a completed product, and that is their AIO, the Panorama AIO. And this one is actually using an AMOLED curved screen that is, as they say, 2K resolution, 60 hertz, and the pixel density on it is gorgeous. If you have a panoramic case, which they've obviously designed, this is actually going to be a really nice way to utilize that. And what they're aiming for, these are meant to be premium products. So if you've looked at premium AIOs, you already know kind of what the pricing is going to be like on these. This does come off for installation right here, as you can see there. Uses USB 2.0, connects through their software. There is also a downdraft fan to cool your VRMs as well, as you see there. So very, very cool. Let's go ahead and put that back in. And before the comments come in, excuse my shaking. I have essential tremors. It's no big deal. I'm not nervous. I'm feeling great. Now, of course, I saw the white one. I was like, yep, that's me. I like white builds. I really like that. But this is actually their current version. It is already for sale in China. It is coming to the US. They've already got part 2. They've already got part 2. And we're going to take a look at that in a second. But I want to showcase this really, really cool custom build that is showcasing their AIO and some custom liquid cooling as well. But you look at that AIO and you can see like it gets a really nice coverage of showing your screen off. Now, this is also the AIO version that has the ARGB fans, which you can get the black or the white with non-RGB or with ARGB fans included. That's it right there. There is cable-styled daisy chaining, which you don't need your fans to all click together. This right here, the cables are hidden. You don't have a ton of cables to connect. You'll be using one cable to connect both your RGB and your PWM fan controls. It does look like it's a proprietary cable, but I'll ask, it may go into a standardized splitter or adapter. So these fans do have proprietary connectors, but the AIO is going to come with an adapter that splits to 3-pin 5-volt ARGB and 4-pin PWM for your standard motherboard connections. So you don't need to necessarily use their software, but you can. And we're going to look at that software after one more little thing. That's part 2 of the Panorama AIO. Now, if you saw the last one, you saw that the AIO was basically a box on the CPU block that had the screen. This one is much more sleek here. I do notice that it doesn't seem to have a downdraft fan, but I can feel air flowing here, so it might. But this one is cool because you can position that however you want. Not that you would necessarily do it like this, but that means you can position the CPU block however you need to for your particular build. So that is the new version. That's going to be what's going to be the successor to the first Panorama. And they told me it's actually going to be probably, don't quote me on this, about 30% cheaper than the original. That's novel. I like seeing that. Things getting cheaper while actually getting kind of cooler. So I like that. So what we're going to take a look at now, we're going to take a peek at their software because I was promised that compared to other big name software suites that try to do way too much with their system, that Tryx's software for their products was going to be much less intrusive and very easy to use. And apparently they actually have their lead designer of the software is formerly from Microsoft and is well-versed in making nice user interfaces that are easy to use and intuitive. So let's take a peek at that. So now we are taking a look at it looks like it's called the Canali software powered by Tryx. And essentially, this is a whole setup that they have here. Speakers, really nice little keyboard here, Logitech mouse, monitor, all that stuff. So let's take a look at what this software looks like. So it looks like it's gonna have a home page, and then you're gonna have the different tabs for whatever products are gonna be utilizing this. Currently, just the Panorama is using it. And then looking at this, you have to your right here, the actual Panorama AIO, and it looks like we can just, let's see, switch between these. There we go. I clicked it and it popped up. I go to the next one, click it, and just like that, it pops up. Now these are all animations that are baked into the software. And this one, I like the space one. I do like space. Look at them go. Now, what we want to do though, is we want to look at our system information display, because if you look on the left side of the panoramic AIO screen, you're going to see certain telemetry for your system. So looking here in the software, we just have some checkboxes we can choose. If we take off CPU temperature, it can only display 3 things, which makes sense. You don't want to flood your small screen with information there. So we click CPU temperature, that's going to be it. So if we take off, say, GPU frequency, and we put up CPU frequency instead, and maybe CPU usage, it will, let me see, and then you have to hit save. Once you do that, it should send the information to the AIO, and there it is, just like that.
You get the whole thing close up.
Yeah. Now, I don't think this background is conducive to showing what's there. Let's switch to another one, and that's a little bit better. There you go. Now, this is a preset. There's a whole other tab here for customization, so let's take a look at that. customization, we go here, and you can do screen splitting. So you can actually have one thing on your left side, one thing on your right side, it looks like. So if I hit save, it's already done. We already have split screen. We have 2 different animations going on the same screen with a single click right there. Okay, so you can set up all your system info options here as well. There's a drop-down box to change these things. If you mostly hang out using the 2 screens there, that's a good way to do it. Hit save, it's done. Now, as for this, you can go to a media library, upload a file, and there's also GIFs you can use here as well. And so you can have your own GIFs. It looks like you can use MP4 videos as well. So I'm really excited to test this out myself. This is really just a first look, but I will say the software is looking good. It's not trying to do everything on your system. It's literally just handling this. And what I'm not seeing on the software yet is gonna be where I can adjust fan curves. I'm not seeing that as part of this software. So it may be in there and I just didn't see it, but I don't think so. I'm looking in the settings right now. I see language, your temperature setting, whether you want Celsius or Fahrenheit, whether you want it to start up with Windows, things like that, actual regular settings. I don't see anything for fan curves, so I would say to Tryx, perhaps that would be something nice to add in there, because if you want to have simple to use software, yet you want to provide the option of having fan curves, simplify that. That would be a great service to provide to your customers there, and I think that would be a good way to go. Okay, and a quick update on the software. This is later Bray correcting earlier Bray. So there are fan curves available in the software. However, what wasn't showing up in the software on the other PC was this rota option. And right here, you do have control boxes essentially. So it's gonna be based on the fan hub that you have. You can choose to have the motherboard control it here with one toggle, or you can basically choose one of these presets, which I am trying to scroll down. Let me just expand the window here if I can by doing that. There it is, we got everything there. And so you can go full speed, high speed, mid, or low, or you can go in a fixed mode and choose the speeds yourself. And can I add more points here? I guess you can just really just max out your fans if you want to, why not? But smart mode here is exactly what I was talking about when I said make the fan curve thing easier. Now, what I'm not seeing here is what are we basing this off of? We're basing it off the CPU most likely. But is there a way to sort of divide things up, have the fans under the GPU, go based off of GPU temps, things like that? But there's a thing about that. Those are features, and features bring complexity. And if Tryx is trying to make a nice, simplified product, we may need to sacrifice certain specific features, and if you don't care about those, that's totally fine. But they also may be things that are coming later on. We'll just have to wait and see. Those are just my shotgun thoughts on that. In a first impression thing. Perhaps we can talk to Tryx about getting one of their AIOs or one of their cases in for a full review, and I'll be able to give my further thoughts at that point. I think that's gonna do it for our coverage of Tryx. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you're excited about this, let me know in the comments below as this product is coming to North America. Which was your favorite? Did you like one of the prototypes? Did you like their giant panoramic case with all the modular stuff? Let me know, and until the next one, take care.